Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started today. Thank you for everyone joining us on today's broadcast. Welcome to our Think Security webinar series presented by Silvertrac. My name is Mac Hess, and I am a marketing coordinator here at Silvertrac. We're so excited that everyone can join us today. Think Security is Silvertrac's webinar series that brings together industry partners to discuss a wide range of topics, whether it's security related or general business best practices through thought leadership. Today, we're going to hear from Brad Feldman. He's the founder and CEO of ROG. And towards the end of our presentation, we're going to learn from Andrew Esseff, a security owner and operator, how he's using modern technology to expand his business. Before we begin, though, I'd like to note that all lines will be muted during this presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the question and answer or Q&A box, as well as the chat box, and we'll do a live Q&A after the presentation has kind of wrapped up. And today's topic is fueled by a lot of conversations that we've had with clients looking for additional service offerings and how to incorporate more modern technology into their business. A lot of the discussion is going to look at the intersection between guard services and video surveillance. But before we dive in, I'd love to introduce our partners at ROG and kind of set the tone for why this is important and why ROG is doing what they're doing. So with that, hey Brad, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks,
We're
Mackenzie.
really excited to have you here. I guess to start us off, tell us a little bit about ROG, tell us why you started this company, why this space, and give us a little bit of background.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mackenzie. Appreciate it. I saw there was kind of an emerging trend that was trying to come out and replace security people with technology. And so been a technology entrepreneur for a long time, and I've been working branches of artificial intelligence to commercialize technologies out of places like Caltech and DARPA. And I got exposed to one of these companies that was trying to replace security guards. But as I kind of dived in, security is really a human need. People feel only really truly safe when they're connected to other people. And so as I got to learn more about security and how technology was being used today, I saw that there was an opportunity to help kind of shape technology, not to really replace the security people and the professionals in the industry, but to become a force multiplier for the people to do their jobs better and more effectively and more cost effectively. So
awesome.
Mackenzie, you want me to kind of run from there? Or?
Yeah, so kind of before we start going into that, I'd love to before we fully jump in, why is this important so our audience is predominantly small to mid-sized physical security companies. Why does it matter to these size companies? We hear all about these really big guys, the big players in our industry, but why is this so important for small to mid-size? And then I'd say from there, let's just dive into everything.
Yeah, actually, I think the presentation that I'm going to do will probably address that pretty clearly, but it has a lot to do with cost effectiveness and efficiencies. And if you don't mind, let me jump in and I'll answer that question.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brad. Excited to see what you have for us today.
No, I'm excited to share. So let me go ahead and go to the next slide. Let's see if I can do that. Your control. There we go. So I'm going to just kind of start off here with a short clip, about 60 seconds. And what you're going to see in this clip is what video looks like when it's run through what's called the neural network, which is part of artificial intelligence. You're going to see here a bunch of color boxes popping up and down. And what the neural network is doing is it's identifying different things that it's seeing within the video. So let me go ahead and play that. back there. So kind of answering Mackenzie's question that, it's cool video, kind of matrix-like, a bunch of boxes popping around, computers seeing things. But, to what Mackenzie was asking, the big question here that I know all of you guys are asking yourselves is, as operators and as owners of guard companies, so what? And really the so what is an economic principle, and it's called labor productivity. And labor productivity is really kind of a simple concept. It's the value created from one hour of labor. So simple example, take a car manufacturer. It takes 500 hours, let's say, to make a $20,000 car. That means each hour worked is generating around $40 of value. But if something actually happens to make that worker more productive, and it cuts the number of hours from 500 hours down to 200 hours to make the same $40,000 car, now the value for every hour worked is $100. And so through whatever that was that made that change, you created a 150% increase in value created from each hour worked. The auto industry is easy in that it's hours, potentially hours to make a car. The guard industry needs to reshape from hours billed to some type of value created. So there's three things that happen in order to make productivity, in order to increase labor productivity. One, provide better tools. And those are things like what Silvertrac's doing in terms of automation tools and optimization for your guards. You can deploy new types of technologies, such as what the auto industry did with automation and robotics. Or there's other ways by increasing your workforce's training, making your workforce more effective through knowledge. AI is a new type of technology. It's a branch of computer science, and it's focused on making computers work and act more like humans. The computers that we know that we've kind of grown up with, they're really good at crunching data to compute answers. But AI takes a slightly different approach. It's more about programs that can learn and ultimately reason. We work in a branch of artificial intelligence called computer vision. And what we do is we use visual inputs to make decisions. So we train, computer vision basically is about training the computer to understand what it's seeing. And it gets trained a lot like a kid gets trained. If you're a tiny kid and you're learning what different things are, your mom might point to a dog in a book and say, dog, rough, rough. And you kind of get an understanding after a period of time what a dog looks like. And eventually you might even be walking down the street and see a cat walk across the street and you want to impress your mom. So you say, dog, rough, rough. And your mom says, sorry, honey, that's a cat. And so it's both positive and negative reinforcement that's giving you an understanding of things. And what that allows you to do is you can easily look at this picture here and you can determine what a dog is. And so you can determine different things, though they look completely different, because of that training, that object recognition that you have in your head. You can identify dogs you've never even seen before. With artificial intelligence, because it's visual, you can also kind of do relational objects. We know that that we might see dogs all the time, as an example, with a human next to them and maybe some leash type connector. But if a dog is walking alone with a leash but no human, that obviously is something not normally seen by the computer, and it can recognize that as well. We'll call relational objects. So my big aha moment when starting ROG was to take the cameras that are already installed out there, there's about 60 million of them, and connect them to some intelligent brain that could then interface with the security industry, with guards. We know it's impossible for one guard to be in multiple places at the same time. And we know that the human brain cannot effectively watch cameras for very long. But I reasoned that one guard could do much more if they were assisted by lots of cameras that were not being watched by them, but instead being watched by computers that could actually interpret and understand what was being seen. So AI is increases labor productivity. My goal today is to give you three things. First, I want to give you a basic understanding of artificial intelligence. I want to give you three questions that you can ask to see where AI might be a good fit to help your business grow. And I want to give you a simple and easy way to start using AI to help grow your business today. So in terms of basic understanding of AI, first off, AI is really still not that smart. It's not going to replace you. It's not the type of stuff that you see in the movies. It can't think or reason as well as a person. But AI might actually be better than humans at certain things as well. As an example, machines don't get sick, they don't get bored, they don't get distracted or fatigued. And we know that a person watching a video monitor is only effective for about 18 minutes. After 18 minutes, the brain kind of goes into a sleep-like state, and things can actually get missed. There's also something known as unintentional blindness that you can experience in just a matter of seconds. It's such a powerful demonstration of how the human brain works that I actually wanted to take about a minute here to show you this video. If you watch this video and you see the three kids in the white t-shirts there, if you wouldn't mind, just as you're watching the video, count the number of times the kids in the white t-shirt pass the ball between each other.
This is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. How many passes did you count? The correct answer is 15 passes. But did you see the gorilla?
So this is actually this is a Harvard study, and
This video
I'm one
is
of the
from
guys.
research by Daniel Simons and Christopher Chabris, and
I'm one of the guys that actually, missed the gorilla, along with about 50% of the rest of the people out there. So about 50% of people actually miss that gorilla walking through the screen, and that's inattentional blindness. So you kind of have a basic understanding of what AI is and what it might be good at. But now I want to give you the three questions to ask yourself in thinking about how AI might impact your business. And I'll give you an example. But first, ask yourself, is the task that I'm asking my people to do repetitive? Or what tasks are repetitive? Does the task have a clear action? And is the task measurable? So here's an example. Let's say you're going to post a guard and at a construction gate, and you want to, and the job is to make sure that nobody enters without a hard hat. So first of all, is that task repetitive? And the answer is yes. The guard is going through this process of, is that a person approaching me? Are they entering the gate? And do they have a hard hat on? And they go through that same cycle each time. Next question is does this task have a clear action? Again, the answer is yes. The guard saying, if that person has a hard hat on, take no action. But if they don't have a hard hat on, let's say report it. So there's a clear action. And is this task measurable? Again, the answer is yes. You can validate if the person that's being reported actually has on a hard hat or not. So you can do this with lots of different places. Whether it's auto dealers wanting to know, some kind of rule about when people enter onto the lot during closed hours, schools, storage buildings wanting to make sure that people aren't entering the building, apartment complexes with a set of rules around pools and barbecues and common areas, cars and parking areas with rules around where cars can park and how long they can be there, and many other things where security guards are actually being used to watch over areas. So the company I founded is called ROG, and it's an acronym. It stands for Remote Operating Guards. remember how I said that there were 3 ways to increase labor productivity? Well, one was to provide tools, and another was to develop new technologies. ROG's a new tool that uses new technology. We've created a cloud service that turns all your clients' existing video cameras into an extension of your guard force. I started this by seeing an opportunity to shape technology, not to replace, but to be a force multiplier for guards in order for them to do their jobs better. Guys like Andrew, who you're going to hear from Cobalt next, they're developing whole new lines of businesses by using technologies to increase their labor productivity. So my goal for you today was 3 things: give you a basic understanding of AI, give you the 3 questions you can ask your business, see where AI might best fit in to help grow your business. And last, I wanted to give you an easy way to get started. So first, I'm going to show you a short video of ROG in action. Then, if you're interested in seeing a live demo of ROG or testing ROG out for yourself, I'm going to give you the info that you need to get started. So let me go ahead and play this.
ROG is the ultimate force multiplier. ROG sends video alerts in real time to security professionals. With ROG, security professionals are deployed where they need to be when they most need to be there. By adding ROG, you maximize the power and reach of each security professional. This means guard agencies use their people more effectively and make more money per guard hour. Businesses guard their locations more efficiently with less manpower. Our technology reduces your labor costs and overtime. ROG uses artificial intelligence to watch and analyze video feeds in real time from any customer's security camera. ROG then sends alerts about potential issues before they become a problem. ROG's platform is cloud-based. There are no cameras to buy or technology to manage. Anyone can deploy ROG and have it up and running quickly. Simply connect the ROG Guard Box to any internet connection along with any video security system. Security video will then begin flowing through an encrypted channel to ROG's cloud service for real-time monitoring and threat detection. ROG is very simple to use. Just log into your account and choose any camera. Let's say we want to create a restricted access area for people. We simply define a threat detection area. If any person steps into this area, an alert will immediately be sent to designated people. ROG's cloud-based system keeps continuous watch using the most advanced artificial intelligence to identify potential risks and minimize human error. No more issues from people getting distracted, calling out sick, or just not being at the right place. ROG lets people know when they need to pay attention and where they should be. ROG can also tell the direction of anything moving through an area it's watching. Just create triggers to send an alert when people walk a certain direction through a virtual boundary. Finally, ROG can track how long a person has been in an area. For example, it may be okay for someone to walk through a restricted area, but if they linger, an alert is triggered. With ROG, you can easily set up as many or as few triggers as you'd like for each connected camera. With ROG's cloud service, you can easily share your alert settings with any other person or group of people so that they receive alerts when a potential threat is identified. You can send alerts to standing guards, patrol guards, property managers, or even a security monitoring center so that they can coordinate the proper response, even deploying the police when necessary. You control who gets alerts and during which time periods by using simple time windows. Every person who needs to know about a security issue is informed in real time. ROG provides better security with less people. Stop a threat before it becomes a problem. ROG, the only cloud-based neural network for security professionals. Get your starter kit today at www.gorog.co/start or email us at hello@gorog.co.
So first off, Silver Lake team, Mackenzie, Johnny, and Ivan, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to share with the community a little bit about AI. And again, anyone that would like to see a live demo or try it out themselves that's attending today, you can reach out directly to me at brad@gorog.co. Or you can schedule a time right from our website. If you go to the gorog.co website, there's a link on the top, see demo. And if you scroll down towards the bottom, there's a calendar. You can actually calendar whatever's convenient for you. So at this time, I'd like to turn it back over to Mackenzie.
Awesome. That was great. Thank you so much, Brad. For now, I'd like to introduce Andrew Esseff from Cobalt. He's both a Silvertrac client and a ROG client. And before we dive into questions, Andrew's just going to give us kind of an overview of how he uses guard management solutions, video surveillance technology in his business, really how he utilizes modern technology to expand his business. After that, we'll open it up for questions. As a reminder, everyone will remain muted, but please enter your questions in the question box or the chat box, and we will answer those once Andrew's kind of given us his background, and Brad and Andrew will both be on to answer your questions. So with that, here is Andrew Esseff from Cobalt. Thanks so much for joining us today, Andrew. I think we have Andrew muted. Sorry, everyone. We'll get him unmuted real quick. There we go. We got you, Andrew. Sorry about that, everyone.
You got me? All right. No problem. All right. So first of all, thank you, Mackenzie and Silvertrac. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here today. And of course, appreciate you guys putting on this webinar. As Mackenzie had previously stated, my name is Andrew Esseff. I'm one of the founders and the CEO of Cobalt Security. We've been in business for almost 4 years now. We started out using a different reporting software for our company, but after additional research and getting to experience Silvertrac, we quickly switched over to that. So we've been using Silvertrac for about 3.5 years now, and been using ROG for probably the last 7 months. But I think it's a great opportunity for companies to hear about the importance of utilizing technology to increase their effectiveness in the industry. I think there are a lot of security companies that have refrained from moving toward technology for a long time. And I think this is for one of two reasons. One being because of the work it takes to learn and implement the technology. It's a lot easier to teach a guard how to write down on a piece of paper to fill out their DARs, but there's a lot more work teaching them a reporting software platform and teaching them how to use that on either a phone, a tablet, or a computer. And then of course, the back end work that goes along with it, setting up sites and guard username and passwords, and then for your client as well. One of the other reasons I think people have kind of shied away from it is that they feel it'll reduce their coveted number of guard hours. One thing I can assure you is that you don't want to be left behind. You can only refrain from using technology for so long before you end up putting yourself out of business. As you all know, we're in the 21st century, and everything revolves around technology. So, if you want to stay in business, you need to stay up with technology. I'm sure, a number of you have been in a sales meeting, and, you get done pitching your company, and they look at you and, kind of gives you that smirk and, say, that was exactly what every other company said to me. The best guards, best training, best cars, best customer service. The truth is every physical security company says the same thing because, they have no differentiators, and, everyone is using the same sales points. And, let's face it, everyone is pulling from the same guard pool. So, if you want to stay ahead of your competition, you need to be actively seeking ways to make yourself a first mover in the industry. And the best way to do that is through technology. If you're not a first mover, you're only trying to catch up with your competition. You're behind the curve on learning it, learning how to sell it, implementing it, and identifying ways to make your company unique. But, it's not just about saying that you use the technology. You have to not only use it, but utilize it as well. And what I mean by that, I'll use Silvertrac as an example. The Silvertrac team, they do an amazing job in developing their technology to help you help your company. They help your guards become more efficient, your manager is more effective, and your sales team more robust. Just like any technology, it's only as good as how well you use it. And I can't tell you how many times we've taken over a site from a company that previously used Silvertrac there as well. And a month later, the client comes back to us and says, wow, I had no idea you could do all of this with Silvertrac. The reports that you're sending me, and the way your guards are using it, it's even with the previous company and their use of Silvertrac, we weren't getting things like this. And the difference is, we took the time to learn the ins and outs of the system. There are so many features available on Silvertrac, that we're still learning new features and new ways that we can use it to benefit our clients and increase the guard's efficiency. But you have to be willing to invest the time to identify its abilities and how you can use it to bolster your operations. We all know, me being the owner of a security company, I know how little free time we all have as either managers or owners of a security company. But that's why you're in the position that you're in. You're willing to put in that time. You made that commitment. It's a short-term cost for long-term increased efficiency. You owe the time it takes to implement new technology like Silvertrac or ROG to your clients. You owe it to your clients and your guards and your company as a whole. You have to view it as your fiduciary responsibility to get on these webinars that Silvertrac's putting on, reading the articles that they put out, playing with the system to see how you can work it into your business model. But it's not just Silvertrac. There's other technology out there. So I want to tell you a little bit about our experiences and our use of ROG as well. ROG for us has been an incredible asset. We're using the same resources that we currently have, but we're able to use this technology to increase our productivity and expand our operation and become more enticing to potential clients during sales calls. One thing that I really liked about Brad and his team is, they understand how important the boots on the ground guard is. They're not looking to eliminate the guard like many of the other artificial intelligence tech firms out there. They wanted to use their technology with the intent to increase the effectiveness of your guards. The same resources, those aren't changing, but what you're doing is leveraging new technology to increase the productivity and expand your services to your clients. But ultimately, the decision on how you use and implement the system, it's up to you. And the biggest piece of advice I can give is don't be restricted by the thoughts or ideas of others. Identify ways you can make it unique to your company. When you have a technology that no one else has, or even when you have a technology that other companies are using, you have the ability to sell it in a way that you want. You can sell it to increase the effectiveness of your security team, or you can sell it in a way to reduce the guard hours for a client. That last statement, reducing guard hours for your client, I can almost guarantee you that is something that that will most certainly separate you from other companies bidding on an account. You know, everybody wants to maintain the guard hours, but you know, if you're going into a sales meeting and telling a potential client, hey, I can reduce your guard hours with, you know, with this technology, you know, that's huge. It's saving the client money, and you know, you might be losing out on you know, a few of those guard hours, but you know, ultimately you're retaining a new client. And you know, when you're talking like that, you know, it instills a lot of trust in you, you know, because nobody wants to, you know, tell a client that you know, they have too many guard hours, or that you know how to reduce that. So you know, and I think you know, that's kind of been an evil phrase within the industry, you know, the reduction of guard hours. You know, security companies and owners, you know, for a long time have been overly obsessed with maintaining guard hours and focusing their success based on the number of guard hours that they have. But it's time to really break away from that thinking. You know, you got to think not just as a security company owner, but you also have to think as an investor. You know, what truly matters. You know, if you were buying a company, what would matter most to you? You know, hopefully it's not the number of guard hours that the company has. You know, they could have 5,000 guard hours a week, but you know, those hours were obtained by underbidding their competition, and you know, they're barely squeaking by on the books. But you know, it's the profit margin. You know, how far into the black is your company or that company? You know, that's what matters most. And then, you know, as we all know, you know, the most difficult part of managing a security company is managing the personnel. You know, dealing with call-offs, reshuffling the schedule each day, dealing with their personal drama and their personal issues. I can't see you guys, but I'm sure there's a number of you shaking your head yes. Oh, yes. So, you know, if you can increase your profit margin and decrease the number of personnel or issues that you have, why would you not do that? And, you know, that's something that ROG can help you do. You know, in many cases, we've been able to reduce the client's cost, reduce our guard hours, and increase profit margin. And, you know, that's just how we've implemented it into our company. But, you know, I will be honest though, you know, in all of our pitches of ROG, you know, there have been very few clients that actually wanted to use it to reduce their guard hours. You know, in large majority, they wanted it only to increase the effectiveness of the guards on site. And, you know, with that in mind, you know, every sale you're making of ROG is only increasing your profits. And the ROG system, it's so incredibly easy to use. You know, it takes very little time to set up and create the parameters for your client. You know, teaching the guards how those alerts will come in and how they need to respond to it. But, you know, if your clients see through your reporting, you know, on Silvertrac, you know, the positive impact that your guards are having on their property through identifying issues and through using the ROG system, you know, they're going to value your guards just as much as, you know, you value those guard hours. And, you know, when implemented, you know, ROG truly works. You know, the guards love it, and because they're able to see what's going on around the property. You know, they feel safer and they feel more effective. And, you know, good guards that you have out there, that's what they want. They want to feel more effective, like they're doing a good job on the site that they're working. And of course, the clients love it because they're able to see the results of their purchase. You know, you can take that ROG alert snapshot and send that to the client the next day, along with the Silvertrac report that went along with it, and prove to them its effectiveness on their property. And there is nothing a client likes more than to see the results of the money that they're spending. So, don't be afraid of change and embrace it. And changes help keep you from staying stagnant, and they make you more desirable to the client. They separate you from your competition and help you retain your clientele. So with that all being said, I'll hand it back to Mackenzie, and she can kind of get the questions rolling. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions for Brad and his ROG system.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. That's always great to hear, not only from our industry partners, but also from, our owners and operators who are helping us to just expand this industry and to just modernize it, really. So thank you guys for both being on here today. Thank you to everyone who's attended. While we wait for some more questions to come in, I just want to let everyone know that you'll be receiving a recording of the webinar after the session ends. And if you haven't taken a look at any of our other ThinkCurity webinars, we highly recommend taking a look. We have a sales one, we have a marketing one, we also have State of the Union with Bob Perry, or Robert Perry as he's often known within the industry. So take a look at that. We also, our December webinar will be with Guidon. They are a security consulting firm, and our January ThinkCurity webinar will be with CalSaga. They are the California Security Association. We haven't rolled out those dates yet, but definitely take a look and keep visiting us. Again, questions can go into the question box or in the chat box, and we will grab those for our speakers. In the meantime, while we get those questions in, all of our Silvertrac information is listed on the screen. You can reach us at 888-505-8722, silvertracsoftware.com, or you can also reach us at ThinkCurity@silvertracsoftware.com. You can also reach Brad with ROG at brad@gorogue.co, or at www.gorogue.co. So you can get in touch with any of us. Let's see here. Looking at our questions. Doesn't look like we have any questions. We'll give it a couple more minutes just to see if anyone comes through. We do have one question. So the question reads, how would you imagine or see either ROG or Silvertrac increasing productivity as illustrated in the first part of the webinar during an existing contract? We do have one question. So the question reads, how would you imagine or see either ROG or Silvertrac increasing productivity as illustrated in the first part of the webinar during an existing contract? We got you, Frank.
No, it's Brad.
Brad, I'm sorry, your name is Frank on here. I've done that multiple times. Sorry about that, Brad.
That's okay. You're asking how would you implement in an existing contract, in an early stage contract?
Yes. So so how does ROG and Silvertrac increase productivity when you already have an existing contract in place?
Oh, got it. Well, I mean, Andrew's probably better to answer that, but the way we've seen it implemented is that it's typically they're implementing it for what usually happens is the guard company and the client are getting together, and the client says, hey, we want more for less. And so even in your existing contract, maybe they've missed some, maybe the guards have missed some stuff. Maybe the client isn't necessarily seeing the impact of having the guards there. And so by implementing any kind of technology that's making your guards more efficient, you're enhancing your existing contract and making your client happier. So those are the kinds of guard companies typically come to us when they're potentially having problems showing value or keeping their existing clients happy with their existing contracts.
Yeah, so most of the places that we've used ROG have been at locations that we currently service. And it's an additional service that you can offer your clients. And I said it before, but really you don't want to be restricted by the thoughts or ideas of others. You want to identify ways that you can use that technology unique to your company. Thinking of ways that you can use that technology different than maybe another company is. But ultimately, the ROG system is effective, or can be effective, at any site that has cameras. And I think if you take a look at the sites that you're currently servicing, probably 90% of those places have cameras. So the first thing you do is do an assessment of where those cameras are, and look back at the issues that property has had, and identify where areas that or cameras that you can use the system on. And the other way is talking directly to the guards that are servicing that account. Talking to them, explaining to them how the system works, and talking to them about how they'd like to see the system being used on that property. And with your big vision as either a manager or an owner, and coupled with the thoughts and ideas of the boots on the ground, you can come up with effective pitches to your client on how you can make it more effective. And as far as Silvertrac goes, depending on what type of reporting you use, whether it's paper or a different reporting software, you just need to get into the system and look at what Silvertrac has to offer. If you're using paper, moving up to an electronic reporting software, it saves you money, it saves you time, which is money, and it saves the client time, and it helps them identify issues that the guards are reporting. One of the biggest issues that I see from paper reporting is that when those clients are getting those reports, they're not reading them. They don't want to thumb through 5 pages of chicken scratch to try and identify what was important that guard wrote, because on handwritten daily activity reports, 99% of what they're writing is just a repeat of the previous entry. But in Silvertrac, it helps you lay out critical issues so that it really pops to the eye of the manager that's checking, the security manager that's checking the reports each morning, and the client that's looking through those reports each day. Really, it's limitless. The abilities you have to implement that into your company.
Awesome. That's great. So to kind of go off of that, Andrew, you mentioned that most of your sites already have cameras installed. The next question actually is about, how do you compensate for sites without cameras installed? What do you do in that situation?
For companies that, so Cobalt Security, our main focus is physical security. We don't really do the tech side of installing cameras or selling cameras. For those companies that do offer those services, it's another way to boost sales with those cameras. Explaining that not only do you have cameras, because cameras are more of an after the fact, security. You're looking at, what happened the previous night, after a crime or an incident has happened. You're looking at it to make an attempt to identify issues that took place already. Can we identify, the subjects that, caused the vandalism or did the theft? With ROG, it's proactive on that. So, if you go to them and say, hey, look, you may not have wanted cameras because, your thought was, it's reactive as opposed to proactive, with cameras. You are giving them a solution to use cameras in a proactive way and, increase the guard's effectiveness on the property. So, they have an alert that comes in real time, and, that guard is responding to that alert. right away, immediately to, prevent the crime from actually be happening. Hope that answered the question.
Yeah, that's great. Brad, from your side of things on Rogue, have you worked with many clients who haven't had cameras installed? Have you kind of dealt with anything like that? Do you have any recommendations on your side of things from a vendor perspective when you have companies coming in that don't already have cameras installed?
Yeah, I mean, we're totally focused on the visual side. So if a site doesn't have cameras installed, it's kind of a non-starter in most cases. To be honest with you, we don't run into that at all. We see that very, very rarely. I mean, there's over 60 million cameras already installed in the U.S. It's growing at some insane rate of 15% a year or something like that. So if they don't have cameras installed today, they're going to have cameras installed eventually, and and you can start wrapping your head around how you're going to potentially use technology and artificial intelligence and all these tools out there to change your business going forward.
Awesome. Okay, so the next question reads, how does it add to your bottom line profit? So the question doesn't specify it. So how does Silvertrac and Rogue add to your bottom line profit, or just modern technology in general in the security business?
Well, Andrew, you could probably give your one example of just the school, right?
Yeah. So, we had a client that, they didn't have, they wanted 24-hour security. However, their budget was that of which they could only afford 16 hours a day of coverage. And for the longest time, they were always talking about, we need something overnight, we just can't afford it. So, when I met Brad, and he pitched his company, I took Rogue and I pitched it to this client and said, hey, look, you can essentially get 24-hour coverage at a fraction of the cost. They did not want to get rid of the two guards during the day, the two shifts. But, for those dark hours, we were able to install Rogue on cameras that they already had on the campus. And, we monitored those. And so, with that, it was only adding to our profit margin. You have, obviously the setup is a nominal fee, and then so anything coming in after that is all profit at that point.
Mackenzie.
I'm so sorry, I was muted, guys. Does Rogue introduce motion detection on basic systems, or does Rogue mirror the existing system capabilities?
Well, so Rogue is actually completely different than motion detection or what's on the cameras. Rogue treats, it's a little longer discussion, but Rogue basically treats your client's cameras as Internet of Things devices. So we're looking at the video stream that's coming out of the cameras regardless, and we use neural networks and object detection and object classification and various things using in the cloud in order to do everything. So we have basically unlimited processing power to process all kinds of rules and artificial intelligence aspects on each of the video streams. Has nothing to do with the cameras. All the cameras are doing is basically feeding the Rogue cloud with the video stream.
Cool. Okay, next question we have says, how old of a system can the Rogue AI use?
That's a good one. Actually, the answer is as old as you want, to be honest. And we have some partnerships. There are some NVRs, net video recorders, that can be placed in in an old facility with old analog cameras, anything, and it will actually generate a a stream that ROG can basically read in the cloud. And so there's really no technology that can't be addressed. You know, some of it without any cost at all. Some, you know, some can just, you know, most can just be done out of the box. If you have really, really old stuff and you can't get what we call the bits out of the building, we have some solutions from some technology companies that for a few $100 they can basically swap out their NVR and make their old system really, really smart.
Fantastic. Okay, so that concludes all of our questions. Again, Brad, Andrew, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to chat with us, to chat with our audience. We really appreciate your time. To all of our attendees on the line, thank you guys for joining us today. Please keep checking back on the different ThinkCurity webinars that we will be hosting over the next couple months, as well as any past webinars you may have missed. All of our Silvertrac information is up on the screen. Again, you can find us at silvertracsoftware.com or ThinkCurity at silvertracsoftware.com, and you can find ROG at gorogue.co or email Brad directly at brad@gorogue.co. So thanks everyone for your time, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. We'll now end the presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.